Chad Prather rose to internet fandom as the man who's unapologetically Southern.
Heath Oaks is a published author who failed his way to success.
Together, they tackle today's headlines in a way only a Southern Spitfire and a millennial mogul can.
Take off your sport coat, grab a beer, and enjoy the conversation.
This is Second Shot with Chad Prather and Heath Oaks.
Yes, that is me smacking on my Skittles. It makes me so happy that they had Skittles. I love some gummy, chewy candy. This is Heath, your host for Second Shot. We got partner Robert Halbert in the house again this week.
What's happening?
And producer Zach and Kristen.
Hey.
Hey.
Y'all got, you know you want some Skittles.
Oh,
we got like
so
a pizza-sized fun
I hope
cake
Jenny
around
listens
here.
to this because I've been in your house and there's nothing that says Skittle anywhere in your house.
I know that's why I get them and hide them in my car.
You're busted now.
I know.
We have to-go bags by the door. You can just take some with you.
Sweat.
Yeah.
So, now, let me ask you this, Robert. Since your last podcast episode has your LinkedIn blew up. I like to make fun of him because Robert has no social media.
I mean, over the last
he's like has
couple of
zero
months,
social media.
I get like 2 or 3 like friend requests a day on there now. It's pretty cool.
So there you go.
Really
Look
nice.
Yeah.
You know, what we do on Second Shot, just so everybody knows, we take headlines or we take stories and things, and we try to take a second shot on them and twist them to our personal life or business life in any way we think we can help. We like to have a little fun, a little humor in it, as well as maybe try to bring some practical advice for your daily listening pleasure. So the first headline that we've got coming up, I think, is pretty interesting. And this is going to be a good one because I'm going to have everybody do some guessing here, okay? Everybody with me?
I want to guess last.
Hi, I'm in.
Headline. Many of the world's billionaires had this first job in common. So you might want to take a heat at this study that looked at the beginning of the richest 100 people in the world to see if there was a connection between their education and first job and making billions. More than 53 of the top 100 people in Forbes magazine World Billionaires list started out by working for another company. And of those, the first job that led to the making of the most billions was blank. It was closely followed by several other. The first career path for 17 of the top 100 were entrepreneurs. Okay, so what is your guess? What is the number one job that these all have in common?
I think Zach should go first.
Go, Zach.
I got it. I'm going to go grocery store bagger / cart pusher.
Grocery store bagger / cart pusher. That's just because you think about the integrity of putting your cart back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did it. But yeah, it seems like a common job.
I hope people are watching the video.
Oh, yeah, I just threw Skittles in my mouth. I forget we have it on video. That's funny. Go to YouTube, check that out. I was just sitting there chugging the Skittles, smacking.
Yeah,
I
that's
forget
fine.
it's on video.
He's got a nice suit on, though. We'll give him that.
Yeah.
Kristen.
I'm going to go paper boy.
Ooh, good one.
Entrepreneurial
Why not? Why
spirit.
boy? How sexist is that? Could it be paper girl?
You said, I don't know. It could be
Sexist.
paper girl.
You're sexist. What's yours?
Some sort of sales.
Salesperson, it is. I knew you would guess
Oh, wow.
it. Salesperson. Listen.
I was hoping to be bagger boy at a grocery store because that's my very first job I had. Legitimately,
it's a
I had
good
that
one.
was
Yeah.
That was closely followed by...
Didn't last long.
So most of them were salespeople, followed by stock trader, software developer, engineer, analyst, and accountant. So
Those
Bill,
sound like first careers, not first jobs.
no, first job is sales.
Yeah.
That's what it... No,
They could have been selling those school books like
Except
one of those companies does. They send
Bill
guys door to
Gates,
door.
he was just always a computer software entrepreneur. That's what Bill Gates was. Warren Buffett, investment salesman, software developer. But how crazy is that? Sales. Now, does that surprise you, Robert? You're the one who guessed it.
Not really. I kind of have to agree a little bit with Kristen because you would think in first job would be like going to
real
work at a
job.
fast food restaurant. But
Yeah.
like career path, I guess, once you kind of get old enough to actually go to work, not really. I mean,
because your first real job, like when you're getting out, you're getting a job and doing
I
all
mean,
that.
anything. I tell people like all the time when we bring them in for recruiting and stuff because what we do a lot of times is commission only. And I always say, hey, the guy signing your check wherever you work right now. He's commission only too. You're selling something. If you own a company, it doesn't matter what it is. If you own a recording studio, you're selling yourself to be able to produce and do things for people. If you're running anything, if you're it's sales. I mean, that's what makes the world go round, in my opinion.
You know what's interesting is that there's a huge movement now. There's massive schools that you can get your bachelor's degree in sales. So you can get a professional selling degree. And it's so funny when I say that, people look at me like, oh, wow, that's crazy, you know. But why is it? Think about it. The number one industry in the world, the number one position needed is sales. No business is alive without sales, correct? Mm-hmm. Why the hell, when we have the biggest position need to be hired, would we not have a bachelor's degree for that? Right? Like, why would you not?
Yeah, it seems
Doesn't
like
make any sense, correct? So we do now. There's a lot of schools that have it. Baylor and UNT, Baylor and UTD Dallas here in the local area have really good ones. But what do you think it is? Why would you say there is a commonality with sales?
As far as when you say that, what do you mean?
I
Like,
think
why is
because
that?
you have to be like a driver
Yeah.
when you're in sales. You have to be a go-getter and you have to be hungry.
Okay.
And a lot of other professions you can just kind of coast or you can wait for other people to tell you what to do. And so if we're talking about business owners and entrepreneurs, they have to have that same drive, that same hunger in order to propel themselves forward.
Yeah, fearless. There's a lot of, you know, when I first got into sales, I was a week out of high school, you know, selling cars, and you know, it was tough at first, but you're exactly right. It's all about, you know, being fearless and having drive. I mean, it's performance based. You know, you got to perform. You got to, as my dad used to tell me when I first got into sales, we used to say, pay the monkey peanuts to dance. You know, the more peanuts you give him, the more he's going to dance. Kind of like the harder you work, the more you try, the bigger your check's going to be. You know, and I agree.
I would tell you, I would challenge
drive.
everybody. Here's what I always love the most. This is what I'll get when people call me saying about a sales job, right? A, I'm not a salesperson. Okay. Or B, sales isn't for me. I can't. I can't do that. That's what they say, right? Or I'm not or they'll call me and say, you need to hire so and so. They can talk to people really well. All of those are three of the biggest misconceptions with sales.
For sure.
Sales can be taught. Sales can be trained. Sales can be learned. You do not have to
Work
be
ethic.
You do not have to be a driving, hard-nosed, pushy. The bad experiences you have with salespeople, the pushy ones, those are bad salespeople in general. They're not good salespeople, okay? So, because if you come off as pushy, you're not good. This whole, like, savage closer stuff, those people are idiots, okay? Because, in my opinion, sales is asking the questions, let your customers tell you what they need, and give them what they need, and it's very simple.
Old saying goes, when the value exceeds the cost, the consumer will purchase.
But I will tell you, too.
I understand that.
I fully believe this. Everybody on this call, if you want to become an entrepreneur, if you want to get better, if you want to round out your skills, get in sales. This story tells it. I promise you, you need to learn sales. You don't have to be the best at it. I guarantee you that all of them on here, it's not that they may have been the best at sales, because we have some great salespeople that were not good in leadership roles. Okay, and it takes some of them a long time to make their deal. Vice versa, but learning, getting your teeth kicked in some sort of sales. Making those calls or doing that can teach you an extreme amount of lessons, obviously, as this does. Would you agree?
For sure. I don't, sales is the toughest but most rewarding profession there is. And I say anytime you're doing anything, whether you're talking to your kids and trying to get them to understand something, you're talking to, people you work with and trying to get them to understand and do something, you're selling. You're always selling, and once somebody, like I said, once the value exceeds, it doesn't have to be a monetary value, but once the mental value or any kind of value exceeds the actual cost, you're going to buy it, and that's what makes the world go around. Like I said before, I mean, sales is where it happens. I mean,
I believe it's an important skill to learn. That's why, like you said, I love it when they say, "Oh, I can talk to anybody." That doesn't matter.
For sure.
Talking to people does not matter. Are you thick-skinned? Do you think sales will teach you a lot of valuable lessons? I would tell you, it's not that I love cold calling. I don't love getting my teeth kicked in, okay? But I'm going to tell you something. I learned a lot of great lessons through that all that have helped me through a lot of places. And obviously this list, when the most common denominator between all the richest people in the world are their first jobs were sales, if that doesn't tell you that maybe if you want to learn a new skill set, look, get one of those multi-level marketing things just on the side to push yourself to go do sales, to learn that, to hone that craft just for the heck of it, for educational purposes. But I promise you it'll make you better off in the long run. All right, we're running out of time. We're going to come back with second segment of Second Shot.
He likes cowboy hats and boots.
And he's a suit and tie kind of guy. Chad Prather and Heath Oaks host more of Second Shot coming up on RNCN.
Ready, aim, fire. Second Shot is back for another round on the Real News Communications Network.
We top flight security in the world, Craig. Not just the town, the world.
The world.
Yeah.
Top 5.
Yeah, I love that movie. Like the Fridays, like those are some of the best.
That's probably not good to talk about.
I don't care.
Like Friday and next Friday?
Dude, I love them. Friday after the next.
Oh, sure.
We top flight
The original
security
was
of the
my favorite.
world,
You're
Craig.
probably a little young for that one, though.
No, I'm the original. I watch 100 times.
Okay. That was my bedtime movie when I was about 8th or 9th grade.
That's why you're
That
so
was my
screwed up in the head.
I am. I get it.
That's why you're messed up. Your bedtime movie was Friday.
I tried to let my wife let me do that with one of the kids, but she wouldn't.
All right, so
Not really. I'm just playing.
Here's a good thing.
Just playing.
This headline right here is like this is epic. Okay, so I'm gonna. So it says leaked. Watch MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell's unhinged outtakes for 8 crazy minutes. So this is national anchor, and obviously had some issues going on with his mic in between shots, and this is hilarious. So I want Zach to play a little piece of the clip. Are we going to bleep out the stuff?
We are.
Okay,
yes.
so you don't have to watch it with your kids. We will bleep out the stuff. So
Yeah,
here,
we'll censor this.
Here we go. We got to listen to this.
And intimidate people of color. The new sheriff of Maricopa County, who beat Joe Arpaio, joins us next. I don't know why I bother to say how to cut the slots when you don't do it. I just don't. I don't know why I just. So now I have to chase those stupid damn entrails that you allowed him to stick out there. Jesus Christ.
Throws down his pen.
Crazy sound coming in my ear, this stupid hammering. I told you why I wanted those words cut.
Okay, I mean that's epic. I mean, is that not just like in between his shots and then go straight back to and Donald Trump is the United Nations of da 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 da. Obviously somebody was in his ear and somebody was getting after it, but man, that is hilarious.
He lost it.
Like you got to go watch the video. You maybe you can go to the show notes and we'll have it in there, but you got to watch this video and see his face. He gets as red as I do at times and just like is throwing stuff.
I like it when you get red. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'll run it on the YouTube video. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. Yeah, we'll have it.
That's great.
It's great.
Does Heath ever like get like unhinged like that? Does he lose it?
Oh, sometimes. I mean, like he and I do a lot. Like especially if we get talking about business, we'll go at each other. Like most people are like, "What in the world?" Yeah, we can. He keeps his cool actually a lot better than I do around everybody else most of the time. So
yeah, I mean,
when he does,
if I lose it,
funny.
I lose it. I will lose it with Robert or with just him and not in front of like a lot of people. It'll be because he knows he just listened to me vent or whatever. Because we all have to.
Yeah, he can be funny sometimes. I get off on him usually and laugh because I like it when he gets fired up because he usually stays very positive. So when he gets fired up, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, whenever I do get there, it's a very different Heath to where there's something that is pushed it. It's not a regular occurrence at all. But you can definitely tell. I don't have a lot of restraint in hiding it when it does happen because you can tell it from my emails to text messages to phone call. Like you don't even have to look at me and you can tell. And so I'm not very good at hiding it, so I'm glad it doesn't happen often.
Well, and everyone like gets there, right? Like we
Sure.
all get to that threshold where it's just your breaking point. Like things have been compiling, and you lose it. So is there a way that you can recover from that? I mean,
So thinking about that, let's think about it with our personal too. So for him, okay, his brand now will always be an asshole, forever. I mean, it's gonna be hard to come back from not being an asshole.
Possibly was before that just by looking at how easily he was able to unhinge himself.
Yeah, for sure.
There.
That was easy, look normal. Now, let me ask you this. In your world with your team, maybe with your kids, maybe with your wife, when you lose it, how do you rebuild the brand? What are the steps you do to rebuild that brand? Whether you're somebody like him who may need to either rebuild the brand or embrace being the asshole and run with it, right? I mean,
There you go.
They can both do one of the two, okay? Now, to all of us normal people, in our brand, whether it's with our kids or our wife or in our business with our leadership team, that we all lose our cool from now and then? How do you rebuild? What's the steps you do if you made those mistakes to start getting back to normal?
To me, step one is owning it, admitting, hey, I did it, yeah. So now we got to go from here and take the right steps to rebuild it, if that's what you feel like you need to do.
And you know what I would say too is I honestly agree with Robert on this fact is number one thing is owning it. We went back and talked about it that one time with all the baseball players that all denied the taking steroids, but then we all couldn't think about that one Yankee that owned it right away as soon as it all came out, and like nobody can even remember his name. Like, do you know the one person that like owned it right away that was in steroid use?
Couldn't tell you, and I'm a big baseball fan.
Okay, so why?
Somewhat.
Because he owned it immediately. You can think of A-Rod, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, and you think about them all in the negative light because they never owned it. Okay.
Still the
this
right.
dude, I'm Andy Pettit. He was a pitcher, wasn't it? It was Andy Pettit.
Was a pitcher for him.
But wasn't it him that?
Yes.
And he owned it immediately.
Yes, Andy. It was Andy Pettit. You're right.
And so like nobody thinks about it because he owned it. I think the first step is own it. You have to go. I always tell people when you make your mistakes, your first thing to do is go to your team and say, guys, gals, I screwed up. I made a mistake. This is my fault. I'm going to correct it. I apologize, and I hope that this doesn't happen in the future. And straight up own it. With your wife or your kids, if you make a mistake and you go to your wife and you just own your failures, or you go to your husband and own it, I believe taking ownership of something lets a lot of people's guards down.
It does.
So what was it you said after the own it?
As far as the steps to take to like you're saying, go conversate, make sure everybody understands, hey, and figure out what it is that caused you to do that and try to, make a somewhat of a difference, and kind of not to get off on a tangent about this, but one of the things that I saw most about this or thought most about this is, you know what? You never know who's watching. You never know who's recording. You never know what's going on. So you got to be a little aware of what's going on around you before you make yourself look like a complete jackass, in my opinion. So, and it goes for anybody. I mean, you never know who's watching you. You never know who's, I've got my godson's 18 years old. He's a good football player, and I tell him all the time that's, there's people watching you don't even realize they're watching you. So are you doing the right things? Are you doing, on and off the field, on and off in the classroom, in front of these little kids? Same thing for him. He made a bad mistake. He didn't keep his cool, didn't keep his self-control, and here's what happened. So you're right. He can either say, hey, I'm just an asshole and that's who I'm going to be, or own it and then, recognize that next time that happens, remember what happened the last time.
Well, and that's the thing is if you don't understand what it was that unhinged you there to lose that cool that much, like after you own it, you have to have enough self-awareness. Okay, how did that get triggered? Because here's the thing. Here's let me tell you where owning it, Kristen, will fail you. Is when you have to own it 5 times a week because you lose your cool every day.
Yeah.
That does you no good. Okay, so let me tell you, if you are the asshole out there and you are unhinged all the time, you cannot just keep saying, "Oh, I own it. I was mean." Like it doesn't work if you do it every day. Okay. At some point, you are just who you are. But if you want to make your changes, I can promise you humility and understanding your faults with it and owning that mistake will be the first step to recovery, in my opinion, to rebuilding your brand at all. And we see it. Like in that steroid usage, this is the best, most relevant way to do it. The people who owned the steroid use, nobody can even remember. The people who have fought it are the ones that every single one of us remember still to this day because they will not own their mistakes. And it's a problem with society in general. You need to be teaching your kids how to own it. You need to go own it with them. Yes, you are the parent, but you know what? If you screw up with your kids, you need to go own it with them. They need to see that taking ownership doesn't matter if you're the parent or the child or the leadership figure or not. Your children need to see you own it if you screw up with them, not just because, oh, I'm the parent. No, go own it. Your kids need to see what owning it is because I think in life in general, if our people start taking more ownership and self-responsibility for their actions, then in general, we're going to be in a lot better spot. And if your kids see you doing it with them, then things are better.
I had to do it the other day with my son. He's a freshman in high school, and he's in the band. They practice more than the football team does. It's crazy. And I got up one morning, and we were supposed to be there at one time, and then we found out it was another time, and I was like, damn, they need to get this right. I could tell it kind of pissed him off, and then I felt bad the next day. So I went upstairs and said, hey man, my bad. I shouldn't have lost my cool. It's something you love doing. Keep doing it. Work hard at it. And keep moving forward because I don't want him to think, hey, he doesn't like this, or hey, he just loses his cool over anything. You're right. It's
but
one of those things
and I
you bring.
think the lesson that you didn't even bring up there is that he just got to see you own a mistake.
Sure,
So it's going to
that's
be easier for him when he makes mistakes to go own it with his
Right,
spouses
for sure.
and with his people in life in general. Because I mean, would you not agree if you ever worked for somebody who's done anything like that the ones that come in and own it, don't you have just so much more respect for them?
I can't hardly work with people that won't own up to things. It just drives me. I lost my mind the other day with Heath on the phone with a guy because you just got to own things, man. It makes you can grow. You can't grow if you're not owning them.
And even if it's like a day or two later, it shows that you've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
That it's been
Sure.
something on your mind. That you've been going, man, I really screwed that up. I need to do something.
Most of
about
the time,
this."
it's going to take a
important.
day or two because you need to calm down
For
to
sure.
realize that you made a mistake. Because in the heat of it, you won't. So,
Right.
we're gonna wrap it up here. But I'm gonna tell you this: own it. Teach your kids how to own it by owning your mistakes as a parent. You're not above the law here. All right. Come back. Third segment of Second Shot.
Now that's what I call ignorance on fire. More of Second Shot with Chad and Heath still to come. Kick off your boots or suit up. The choice is yours. Welcome back to Second Shot with Chad and Heath on RNCN.
Coming back to the third segment of Second Shot. If we had Kristen running the show here, she'd be like in the first segment or the fifth segment or
Hard
something.
to keep
'cause
track.
she had
Time
no
flies
clue.
when you're having fun.
Yeah. Thank God
And
for
the
me.
sugar's kicking in from the Skittles on Heath right now.
Yeah.
I'm like
Everybody
getting
knows.
wired right now. All the sugar's like coming to me. It's one of those. It's like
He hadn't eaten any in a while. So
watch the YouTube videos. I was cramming Skittles in my face. I love gummy bears and gummy worms.
you got
and
the trolleys, the little trolley. Little
Not
If it's
the-
gummy, I like it.
Yeah, not the chocolate. You go for the sweet, like
I love the gummy
sugar,
Skittles.
Airhead, Starburst,
Yes,
Skittles.
man,
yeah.
Airheads. Back in the day, my tongue be blue as get out of get those blue Airheads.
What are the little round things they used to have?
Lifesavers?
No. The
Runts,
No, man, they came in a tube.
chewy
like-
runts. Chewy runts
Oh,
are good.
Sprees?
Sprees. They got chewy sprees too.
No,
Smarties.
I can't. I have
No?
to think about
Oh,
it.
man. I feel like I'm hitting
They're
all the-
about
all
that
the
big
ones.
around. And about
Yeah?
that
Sprees.
big.
Mentos?
No, they're not Sprees.
Shockers?
No, I'm way off. What are they called, man? Never mind. We're gonna run out of time here thinking about that.
Man,
You'll
Just
figure it
start
out.
talking.
I really love candy.
Yeah.
I'm a candy. That's what like the sugary kind.
The sugar high is high right now.
Shameless candy plug here on Second Shot.
So Lifesavers gummies. If you want to sponsor the show, I will be more than happy to eat all the Lifesaver gummies
Sure.
that you possibly need.
We're happy to do
Okay?
that. On camera.
So, send them my way, please. No. Third segment, what we do is we take a listener emails, secondshotcast@gmail.com. Shoot us any type of questions, comments, or anything you've got in general. We want to bring it up and talk about you. So the first one, we got Justin Fowler, who's where I'm from, actually. Justin Fowler is from Troop. He's out from Concord, where we're from there, Roberto.
You're from Concord.
Yeah. Unfortunately for you, you're from Troop.
He's like, don't loop me
I'm
in
from
on
Concord.
that.
Correct. And I can't spell Carlisle, so don't even get started on that. So let's
Oh
go.
my God! I'm so glad you just brought that
I
up.
wanted to.
I have to bring this up. So Robert, when Carlisle, I went to high school at Carlisle. They went Troop. Robert decided one weekend, whenever Troop was playing Carlisle, that he went down to the Carlisle sidelines.
They were making us paint the field, the coaches were.
They were painting the field, and they're at Troop. And he went on the Carlisle side, and Robert decided to sneak in and write Carlisle sucks
From the 40 to the 40.
from the 40 to the 40.
I was
and
really
he
proud of myself.
misspelled Carlisle.
Yeah.
Get you some.
Yeah, literally spelled like Carlisle sucks. Like how funny is that?
L-Y-L.
No, like
No, it's not L-Y-L-E. Thank you.
that's how you spelled
oh,
it,
yeah,
though.
for sure.
yeah. So
It's L-I-S-L-E. Okay,
Now-
I got it now.
Now, like,
Lizzle?
how funny is that? Like,
That's
it's
been
like
20
Carlisle
years
sucks,
ago, and I
haha,
still
and
hear
everybody
about it.
gets their car. Is like, dude, you're the idiot. You're the one who can't even spell. Like,
Yeah, when I was sitting in the
that's such
principal's
an
office, he was
oxymoron.
looking at me walking out laughing, and I finally like, what are you laughing about? He goes, not only did you embarrass the whole school, but you can't even spell Carlisle. I was like, oh,
You can't
damn.
insult us if you don't know our name.
That's great. I forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
anyways.
Justin Fowler, from where I'm from, listen every week. Enjoy everyone on me said that Heath, that my dad and Jason Taylor both spoke at his grandpa's funeral. And listening to the last podcast about love reminded him something that his grandpa had told Jason Taylor when he was living and working with him. Told Jason that love isn't something you find, it is something you work for. And you have to work for it every day. Strong words from a strong man, in my opinion. Love what y'all do. And he's right. Like, his grandpa and his grandma have been married for, like, forever. They were the classic old couple, been forever. And I agree with that. I don't know if you listened to the last podcast where we talked about agape love, and that love is a choice, that you don't just wake up and have these feelings every day of love. Like you have to choose to continue to love somebody and work for it every day. And I know that you and I have had conversations. You agree with that as well.
For sure.
But Justin, thanks for the shout out. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you listening. Next one. This is interesting. Caleb James. Is that James? Caleb James? Is that right? Am I reading that right? Yeah. Caleb James.
Yeah.
All right, Caleb, what's up? Chad and Heath, been listening to y'all since 5th podcast. Feel like I've learned a lot from your own personal experience. I'm in the process of becoming a North Carolina state trooper, and your podcasts have really encouraged me to pursue my dreams no matter the fear of failure. But I have a topic for you this week. Protesters pulled down a Confederate statue in honor of their ancestors in slavery. This actually just happened this past week in Dallas as well. And I believe the Civil War was about state rights, not slavery, but that's a whole different topic. What do y'all think about this issue? Is it right for them to be able to change our history simply because they don't agree with it or understand what really happened? Is it freedom of speech, or is it breaking the law? I know you're probably getting bombarded, but I want to send this over. Caleb? Nope. We want to address this. Kind of.
This is a touchy subject.
This is such a touchy subject, and it's touchy because it's in so many ways. It's kind of like, it's hard. I always say, like in sales, for instance, I can go have a conversation and I can help Robert when Robert was starting and he was going through the rough time going broke. Because I, Heath Oaks, had also been broke trying to start it myself. If I, Heath Oaks, would have grew up with a silver spoon and never went broke, I couldn't go have that conversation with Robert, right? So it's hard for me to address it based on the people they're doing it with the race that has dealt with what happened with the Civil War versus me, right? You know, it's hard for me to be in their shoes and say this is how I see it as well. I have a lot of different opinions on this, and my wife and I have a lot of disagreements and agreements with it because I'm trying to understand all aspects of it myself, and I don't know if I've fully formed everything with it. What are your thoughts?
Oh, man. You know more personally about me than these listeners.
Oh, wait, and
for
Caleb,
sure.
all you got to do is go to watch Chad and listen to Chad's stuff, and you can find out very surely where he stands.
Here, it's a touchy subject in a lot of ways for me. Up until probably the last 4 or 5 years, me knowing and being around the people and the cultures that I've been around, I was completely ignorant to a lot of things that do and do not happen with any race of people. I try to raise my kids in the fact that unless you've walked a mile in someone's shoes, don't judge, don't reach out and try to make something out of nothing. Make sure you understand before you say things, because you can start really making a lot of tidal waves with things when you don't know. I'm big into culture, whether it's African American culture, white culture, other countries. So I love learning about people. I think that's a lot of the problems we have in our country today. Is there's certain cultures of people that don't know or understand or taking the time to understand the culture of other people. So it's kind of a weird subject for me. You can't change history. Yeah. Bottom line, in my opinion.
I agree.
So
you know what it's kind of like to me. It's not kind of like it because it's on a different scale, but it's like with USC. Back in Reggie Bush and all them, they were like one of the most epic college football teams of all time. 3 and 4 years at the.
Sure.
I mean, they literally will go down as one of the best all-time college football teams. 8 years later, they come back and take their titles from them because Reggie Bush was.
His mama had a house or something.
Had a house and found out somebody get 8 years later, right? Now, who in anybody's mind does not think of USC as being the national championship?
Not me.
Not a single person.
Yeah.
They took, quote unquote, that title away, but did they? No.
Right.
We all still see them as the greatest still. I believe that you don't go back and take that. I believe that you just have right context, and it's up to you as a parent and as family members to have the right explanations on your beliefs on if they should have been disciplined or not. Right. So
you're talking.
I will tell you this, Caleb, that. I agree that I don't believe you can change history. Okay, I believe that it's your job as parents to educate your kids on those things. So, but I will say, Caleb, let's be real. Was Civil War really about states' rights? I mean, let's all get honest here. Or was it have a lot to do with slavery? It did.
Well, it's now, the perception anyways now. So perception's reality. We talk about it all the time. So, of course.
But again, I don't believe you don't go back and take these statues. I don't believe you go change history. I believe what you do is that if you disagree with that, you need to take your kids out there and explain to them your thoughts and beliefs on it. It's your job as a parent. No matter what, we can take the statues down. All of your kids are all still today going to see and know about the Civil War, about slavery, about all of those things. You're still going to have to educate them on that, whether or not there's statues or there's not. Just like with USC, you can go back and take those titles away on paper, But in all reality, everybody still knows
They
that
were
the
the best
USC
at
was the
that
best
time.
teams there were. You know what I mean? Like, I believe that we're going about it in such a way that we're reacting so fast to one or a couple brings up.
You're also
cannot
dealing with a
sympathize.
minute group of people, though.
Yeah.
You got to think about that. There's less than probably 1% on this side that's trying to tear it down, and there's less than 1% on this side that's trying, and then you have the other large group of people that are what I would call contributing forces to society in the United States, which are Americans, whether you're black, white, brown, pink, purple, or gray, and we're letting these type of people distract what our ultimate goal really is.
It's coming together, not
Exactly.
tearing it apart. Because here's the reality of it. I'll tell you this, Caleb, is that I don't believe you can change history, but I will tell you this. I'm not going out and spending my time to protest and taking it down. I could care less enough. You know what I mean? I don't care enough about it, and I'm going to be honest, Caleb, to go out there and spend my time to try and stop it. Because you know why? I have the authority over anybody knowing, my kids, my daughter knowing about all kinds of the history that I want her to know about. I don't need that statue in any part to do me the justice. So I'm one of those that I don't care enough to be going and fighting and worrying about it. A. B, I don't believe you can change history. I think that everybody should have calmed down and everybody should take a little more time to think about these things and really think it through before we just react to stuff. I think that all of these states are reacting so fast and they need to slow down and take time.
I have a pair of shoes in my closet I've had since I got in the insurance business that I wore for a year because I couldn't afford another pair of shoes. The soles are falling off. The water used to get underneath them. And my daughter found them the other day. She goes, "Why do you keep these?" And I said, to remind me of where I came from, so I don't forget where I came from, and to know I don't want to go back to there.
See, that's another mindset. Why you take them by and go, look, this is what.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's all about the perceptions, and there's those 1% on each side
that don't want to
that
go
are
back
irate
there.
about it all.
For sure, it's a small group of people that we're letting get on TV and do whatever crazy stuff they're doing, I guess.
All right, so
Thank you, guys.
Robert Halbert on LinkedIn, right?
That's it. LinkedIn's all I got.
At Heathos, at Ignorance on Fire, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Second Shotcast at gmail.com. And go look up Chad at Watch Chad, Political Cowboy. All right, till next time, we love y'all.
Thanks for having me. You guys stay out of trouble.
You're listening to RNCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.